Check 1, 2. Check. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of, wow, how come I can never seem to remember this? The video Helpline. Glad to have you guys here. We've got a lot of people already in the chat. Let me know how audio levels are doing this evening. I changed things up a little bit. Seems like they might be a hair on the hot end, but let me know. Also, I apologize if you heard me breathing and whatnot. I think right before the stream, something happened in my software and I was using my AirPods, which is terrible. That's an awful idea. So, welcome back. This is how we roll every single Wednesday, or at least most Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We're doing a live stream here on the channel, and we answer your questions, or I answer your questions. And there's a bunch of you regular folks here. So let's go ahead and dive in. We've got BCS Strike Productions. James, what's going on, James? DVV Productions. Joel, who dropped a donation. We'll answer his question here in a second. Michael, Kevin, Marvelous Visuals. Somewhere in here I saw Mr. Camera Junkie, who is a regular, and you guys know who you are. You, what is the term? Repeat offenders. So good to have everyone here this evening. Let's go ahead and jump into this super chat from Joel, $5. Thank you, Joel. He says, excuse me, all kinds of stuffy for some reason. Hey, Caleb, I've been searching through your videos from 2018 looking for the title outro music with no success. I must find it because it absolutely slaps. Sorry for the obnoxious questions. No questions are obnoxious here, at least, you know, I would say the majority of them. So that's a great question. Let me know what exact outro music you're talking about. Is it from my old videos? If you want to maybe shoot me a link via email, if you go to dslrvideoshooter.com/contact, shoot me a link to the video that you're talking about when it comes to music, and I'll hunt that down for you. Right. We got another question here from Michael. We're just going to dive into questions. Actually, before we do this, excuse me, Michael, got some housekeeping. I need to get this thing figured out, folks. I'm all kinds of sloppy. I need to get my little pre-roll situation happening. So, right now we're doing a stream. It's going to be a great time. Looking forward to it. After this stream, in about 40 minutes, I'm going to be heading over to Jem Schofield's channel with him, Ben, and myself. And we are going to be hanging out here. I'll put a link in the chat. But we're going to be talking about gear, video production. We might come up with a new gear challenge. So those of you who have been following our stream over there, we do these crazy challenges like buying a bunch of gear from Wish and whatnot. So we're going to come up with something, and it'd be great to hang out with you. So I'm going to drop that in the chat right now so you guys can see that link. I'll also drop it in the chat at the end of the show, and that's what's going on. So back to Sir Michael. Teleprompter setup for Zoom. Can you set this up without an Atem? I believe so. All you need is a monitor, a teleprompter, and then you can just drag whatever Zoom window software over to that monitor, and you'll be good to go. So that's a good question. Let's see what else we got. Let's see. Got that one taken care of. Man, you guys are nuts. I am going to actually go to current because there's no way I'm going to be able to keep up. So if I missed your question, please repost it. All right. Here we go from Logan. Let's see. I know you use diffusion filters. Do you have any tips for using them? Sometimes my image is too hazy, looks bad when my subject is in shot with sky behind them. That's a great question. So depending on what filter you're using, you might have issues. So I have noticed that I don't often use a black pro mist filter outdoors. So the first thing is get the strength right. I recommend starting with, for the black pro mist as an example, because it's very popular, from Tiffin. What is it? 1/8 or 1.8? I can't remember exactly how they break that down, but that is the strength that I use. Any higher than that, and it gets really crazy really quick. The second thing is, yes, outdoors in certain lighting conditions, backlit stuff, it's going to be hazy. So in that case, just pop it off. Take it off. Use magnetic filter mounts. That's what I use, so I can quickly do that. Another one that I'm recently playing with is glitter filters. So there's all kinds of filters out there, but do some research on glitter. They're less crazy when it comes to that haze, but they still add some really nice texture and filtration. So those are a couple things I would start with. All right, we got another one from Jessra Blom. I'm shooting with the A6100, but I want to upgrade with a budget of $2,000. What would you recommend? I only shoot video. Great question. That's a tough one, right? Because I keep wanting to say the A7 IV, the new one, is $2,000, but it's $25,000. So that would be awesome if you could just, save another $500. Maybe go for that. Otherwise, man, $2,000. That's a tough one right now. The GH6 is up and coming. If you like Sony, though, I'd probably stick with that. So you could go A7 III. That would be very comfortable for you. Very similar color and image, roughly. But the 8-bit stuff is really, really tough, and I'm not a big fan of it. So if possible, A7 IV. Otherwise, A7 III or A7C would be, you'd be very comfortable with that, and that would give you full frame, good image, sharp, minus the 8-bit stuff. But I'm working on a LUT. A lot of people ask me about that. LUT is coming for the 8-bit cameras and a way to kind of work around some of that nastiness. All right. Oliver, what do you think of the Blackmagic Broadcast G2? I don't have a lot of, interest in their broadcast line, but, if you're into broadcast, I believe, what do they have, a B4 lens mount on there? It's pretty cool, but I'm not wild about those necessarily compared to other options. Been trying to start a podcast. This is from Andrew. I wonder how you can use wireless headphones without latency while monitoring audio. I see you use AirPods. So yeah, AirPods are not going to cut it for you for wireless low latency. One wild hack I found through Alex, I believe, another YouTuber who talks a lot about Atem mini stuff, is, and I did a video on this a while back talking about wireless audio kit. You can take a Rode Wireless Go and use that for your headphones, and it's actually really great. So it's almost no latency, and big fan of that. So check that out. Check out that video I did. It's like a 100% wireless audio kit or something like that. All right, what do we got here? What camera would you recommend for live streaming multi-game shows, or what camcorder? So I'm not as well versed in camcorders these days because they've changed a lot. But you could totally do that if you don't, want to mess with lenses and shallow depth of field and all of those things. So a camcorder would definitely be good. Anything with a clean, output, something you can lock in your exposure so it's not changing on you. Otherwise, I'm kind of partial to the GH cameras. I think they're great, especially these days. Finding a GH4 or 5 used, you could get a whole bunch of those. And those are great because they're not a full frame sensor where if someone goes like this, they're out of focus. So that's a good way to go. You can get a bunch of lenses for them. That'd probably be my recommendation. GH line or something like, camcorders, Canon, Sony, whatever. Let's see. Are you using a filter with this as well? I don't remember. Let me move this monitor. This is going to get really trippy for a second. But here's the monitor I use with my teleprompter. For those just joining us, this is going to look really weird. I don't think I have one on there. I've been meaning to put one on there and get a smaller one because the lens I'm using is the 35 Canon RF lens. Let's see if I get that monitor set back up. There we go. But I don't think I have one on there. So there you go. But soft light, it's, might kind of look like I have one. All right, next question, Mr. Camera Junkie. How you doing, man? Put a Q in front of your questions. That could be a thing. Nice recommendation. I wish there was a better way to tag stuff in Ecamm, or where they could say, people could say at DSLR video shooter and I can more clearly see it. I don't think that pops up as nearly as well. Is the Lumix G9 a good camera for video? Yes, I think so. I haven't personally owned one, but it's got some pretty cool stuff going on. Favorite comfy podcast headphones. Ooh. I'm partial to the Sony MDR series. I know that's not everyone's favorite, but comfy, you'd want some nice big honking huge over-ear, open-back headphones, and I'm just not that well versed in headphones. So that I couldn't necessarily help you with. But I like the MDRs. I don't really use headphones. People, you won't believe this, but I actually edit with and use my MacBook Pro speakers. I know, it's crazy, but they sound good enough. I really like a clean setup without a bunch of stuff and having speakers and whatnot. I don't touch audio using that. I always use my MDR headphones when I'm dealing with critical audio stuff, but that's kind of the deal. Any ideas for tiltable diffusion sheet? I want to increase diffusion on my Falconized light, but need to be able to move somewhat with it. Tiltable diffusion sheet. So you could get a frame, right? And mount that to the light or the stand that your light is on. There's some great, let's do some shopping, shall we? I love shopping for grip gear. So let's do this. Let's go over here. And let's go to B&H. Oh dear, excuse that. Okay, let's see. Let's do, what is it called? One of my favorites. It's really lightweight and not too expensive. I don't remember the name, but it's a 39 by 39 frame. PhotoFlex. This guy right here, $40 PVC, snaps together, folds down really nicely. So you can get that bad boy, and that would be close to a 4x4. It's, you know, not 48 by 48, but 39 by 39. And then if you scroll down here, you'll see all the various accessories. So here is the diffusion. Yeah, so for like 60-ish bucks, $70 with tax and shipping, and you're done. You use some clamps to get that thing on your stand, and you'd be good to go. Other ones, oh boy. Let's see, 4x4 frame. I can't remember the names of them all. There's another one I have that's fixed. That's all right, I guess. Why is it showing me this kind of stuff? Westcott, there we go. This is the Scrim Gym stuff. So there's like a kit that comes with everything you need. These are awesome. They have all kinds of different diffusion. Or what's the last one? It's a Matthews. What's the name of it? It's a tube, square tube. Here we go. Square tube frame. That's a simple name. So this thing is one fixed massive beast, but what's nice about it is it's lightweight, and you have this pin down here, this 5/8, see if I can zoom in here, 5/8, baby style pin. So you can just chuck that up in your C-stand or with a grip arm attached to your current stand, and then you put some what they call, what do they call it, snot tape on this double-sided tape, and then you can get some really nice 216 filter gels. This one's a lot, but you could probably find some that's less. But this is a really amazing paper gel, incredible light quality. So you just take that, you put it over that frame that we were just looking at, and bam, that's gonna give you a really, really nice, just gorgeous light. So sorry folks for spending so much time there, but that's kind of what I would look into. Right, so where do we leave off? There we go. Okay, Dean Home 1. Building my Atem Extreme case, thinking of putting a V-mount in there. Which battery should I go with for the Atem Extreme ISO and a portable monitor? I would take all those devices, read their power input specs, so what voltage or wattage, and add all that up and then figure out what battery you need. Because not all V-mounts are created the same. You want to make sure you have enough current and you can, power all those devices with the same voltage. So I can't really answer that. Ideally, it'd be one of those smaller V-mount batteries so you could have a little more room in there. But that's what you definitely want to do, is add up all of the power requirements of your case, then figure out your solution there. All right, scrolling down here, this is Caleb. Hey, Caleb. I have a Panasonic G7 and am looking to massively step up my game. I'm fully immersed. Have a lot of Micro Four Thirds lenses in the ecosystem. Thinking about the A7 IV, thoughts. If you're fully into the system, I would wait to see what Panasonic does with the GH6 if you can. Just because what if it's the perfect camera for you, then you've got all the lenses, you just switch out bodies and you're good to go. That said, the A7 IV is a great camera. I don't have mine yet, but knowing what I know from the A7S III, you know, I think I'm really stoked for that camera, and I'm probably going to end up getting a couple more. I think it's going to be a really solid workhorse. Okay. What is the sharpest video camera under $1,500 with autofocus? I mean, if you're looking for sharp, like clinically sharp, then Sony. Sony's A6000 series, so A6300, A64, A65, A66. It's ridiculous how many of those they have, but those are going to be amazing. Put them in 4K, and it's going to like be brutally sharp. So if that's what you're looking for, 100% those cameras. Do you know of a stand boom pole for mic for travel? Very light. That's a tough one. You have two options. You can get a boom stand where everything's in one stand, or you can get some kind of stand with a way to add a boom pole, but it's just tough, right? So if you're talking about flying, that's going to be tricky. Really, really tricky. Probably your best bet. It's going to be heavy, but it will be compact. Let's go back to B&H here. And let's see, Triad Orbit Boom. So these guys, this just looks like a mic stand. It is not. This thing is about the strength of a C stand. Not quite, but these things are wicked, wicked strong. So this is the boom section. I don't know what it extends to. It probably says right down. Oh, there's no specs. Well, that's silly. But you can couple that with their stands. And these stands are weighted. So this stand right here, if you go to pick it up, it's going to be close to the weight of a C stand, even though it looks like a microphone stand. So if you're traveling, you want something that's not going to tip over on your talent or blow around in the wind, this thing with that boom arm is your best bet. So check out Triad Orbit. I'll just do this real quick. Go to their website, and you definitely want to check them out. I have one of their stands. I know they're really expensive, but their tech is ridiculous. So they have a lot of really, really cool accessories and really strong stuff. Positive locking, all of that goodness. So Triad Orbit, definitely something I'd recommend checking out. My buddy Jem Schofield has a video on them too, so you can check that out. Is Super 35 APS-C dead? I don't think so. I think there's a place for all sensor sizes because there's reasons to use them, you know? Like that earlier conversation we were having, if you don't want to constantly be dealing with focus, a smaller sensor size gives you that option. Also, if you need further reach, so, and cost, right? But right now, full frame is just super hot and popular, so that's kind of where everyone's going, but I think there's a place for sure. Could you go with the A64, A66, both cameras if you want full frame? Oh, sorry, you're answering another question. Nice. Joey, yes, that is my setup right now, and it's all in the description if you want to learn more about this whole room and what's going on with all of that. All right, we are behind, so I'm going to scroll down. We're going to deal with some delightful super chats here, and then we'll just kind of reset because that's just the name of the game, it seems. Capture Light Media, $4.99. Thank you, sir or lady. Asked this on your last video. Figured others would like to know, have you ever thought about a channel name change? MILC is the norm now. Elaborate. I don't know what that means. Maybe I'm missing something. But when it comes to the name change, I have considered it. I consider it all the time, and I'm just not going to do it. So the short answer is, you know, I built a brand around DSLR video shooter. It's just kind of my thing. And whenever you go through a change like that, you just are going to have a drop in everything. It's just rough, right? When you change your website, when you change your YouTube channel name, you know, especially after you've built it over 10 years. So I'm not going to do that. It's just, it is what it is. There's worse names out there. And I'm, you know, if I did it, it would probably be changing it just to my name, Caleb Pike. But as it stands, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. So great question. James, 449 pounds, bribe towards 8-bit LUT just because. Nice. I'll get to work on that. So nice. And thank you, James, for I've seen you lurking around the channel a lot. It's good times. Mr. Camera Junkie. you can search for the letter Q. Okay. Look at that's nice. Okay. Right now, looking for a mic that I can use for both mounted on top of the camera and a boom pole. And on a boom pole, not too expensive. Do you think the NTG is good enough? Yes. You talked about the video mic NTG. That's a fantastic all-arounder. So I think you'd be very happy with that. You can do so much with it. You can plug it into your computer over USB. Use it as a podcasting mic. It's great. Ian says, I'm a 16-year-old editor being paid hourly. Excuse me. I have an upcoming project which I think is worth more. Would you suggest I give the client a fixed rate or fixed rate for the project, or negotiate a higher rate? So, Ian, that's a fantastic question, and congrats. That's amazing. Love seeing people of your age getting out there, getting busy, making videos, editing. It's good stuff. Give a fixed rate. Okay, so there's a couple ways to go. If you're a contractor, often that's hourly, and it just is what it is. Often, if you're more of an edit house, there might be more of a contract and more of a, there's several ways to do it. You can split it up. You can have a down payment where it's just to even start working, it's this much, and then we switch to hourly, or this is how much the project will cost, and what you will get is an edited video with 2 to 3 fixes or, versions, if you will, or whatever you work out with them. And then beyond that, it goes into a rate, or it's a certain rate, and then after a certain amount of hours, it goes to another rate. So there's a bunch of ways you can break it down. That's great though. If you think it's worth more, you can definitely work something out, but 100% do this all ahead of time, in that kind of pre-production as you're working things out phase. So yeah, that's kind of how I would think about it. And there's some great editors. I'm trying to remember their names on YouTube, and I would think they would cover this a little more, because I know editing is a little different than like video production, right? Because you guys have the hard job of, it can go on forever. Whereas for us, there's shoot days, and once you're done shooting, you're done shooting. Fantastic question. Sennheiser HD600. Oh, sweet. You talked about headphones. Awesome. Thank you. Ty the Prodigy. Love that name. Best lav body pack system for short films under $500, preferably, but not maximum $700. Looking for something with crisp sound but easy to set up on set. Honestly, Caleb, I'm just gonna say Rode Wireless Go 2. I've been using them more and more, and man, is it pretty reliable. And I'm really enjoying being able to have those recordings. So honestly, for me, I did a ton of tests. I have 14, 15 different lavs. Some are very expensive, some are terrible. And the best combination, doing blind tests and everything, was the Rode Lavalier Go with the Rode Video Micro, and using, I'll talk about this in an upcoming video, but a little thing to hide it under your shirt and a little EQ. Done. Fantastic. So you could pick up like 2 sets of those, and you'd have 4 microphones. You could feed those into a mixer or recorder, and you're good to go. So I think that's a great option. So that's kind of what I would go with, honestly. I know it's kind of consumery. Hopefully they'll release, Rode Link 2. That's a little more professional, but for now, that's great. We talked about overall headphones, MDRs for Sony MDR. Why am I struggling here? What's the headphones? The one that everyone uses. They're not that expensive. 7506s. Those are the ones I use. Ty the Prodigy's got content. Check it out. Sweet. Super cool. There you go. All intra versus long GOP movie compression. My Fuji cameras have this setting. I don't understand the pros and cons. Oh, that's a can of worms, Mr. Zach. Okay, so I'll give you things to research, because I can't go into all of the differences. I just wrote a script for my upcoming content creators guide that covers all of this, and it's gnarly stuff. So all intra versus long GOP, that's the compression type. So that's one category. Think of it as like a triangle of settings, right? So that's one point of the triangle. The other is going to be your codec or your wrapper. So as an example, H.264, H.265, those are completely different, and they use either all intra or long GOP. And then why am I struggling with this? Another is going to be your data rate, and how every camera has a different data rate for each of these settings. So long and the short of it is, all intra, your computer is going to love it. It's going to do a great job cutting it up without, it being a terrible experience. However, it's going to create large file sizes. Long GOP, smaller file sizes, really rough to edit. So if you look those two up, it's just two different ways to compress an image. Compressing every single frame, the entire frame, or compressing every certain set of frames and then using algorithms to make up the difference, which your computer has to calculate. That's why long GOP takes longer. So hopefully that helps. And yeah, if you need more information, shoot me an email and I can just send you the whole script or something, help you out with some of those differences. But the tricky thing is, some cameras do all I or all intra only in H.264, and then or only in H.265. So there's combinations that you want to get right, which Fuji doesn't always allow you to do. It's a whole thing. That's a great question though. Am I addicted to gear? Actually, no. You would think so, but I prefer. The best thing is in the world is if I go like a month without purchasing anything. I love that. So this is gonna sound. I don't want this to sound bad or come across as ungrateful, but I would really love just to have a kit that I really like, and that's it. But because I do videos about setups and things, I have to have a stupid drawer with 40 nano clamps, or a whole bin filled with grip heads. I don't. Trust me, I'd love to downsize so much, but it's kind of a necessity. At a time, I would say absolutely I was addicted to gear, but I'm kind of over it. I really appreciate new, interesting stuff, but yeah, I don't really care for buying a ton of stuff all the time. Okay, let's see. Yes, Meet the Gaffer, fantastic. How far behind am I, folks? Is it bad? Let me know. Did I get rid of all my cameras under $300? I think so. It was a combination of selling some, giving them away, all that kind of stuff. I'd like to revisit that, by the way. I don't know if I'll be able to get the same ones, but it'd be interesting to see what I could get for $300 to $500, something like that. Still waiting for a car setup studio. Nice, we'll have to get to that. What's more functional according to your criteria for indoor production? Nova 300 or 600D? I mean, for me, 300D is plenty. That's probably what I would go with. The 600 is nice because you can just hit it off the ceiling and have a ton of light, even in a giant space. If I was only to pick one, I'd got to start with a Bones mount style modifiable light. That said, the Nova's great, but if I have to pick one, I'm going aperture, because getting a giant softbox for a Nova 300, really expensive. Really, really expensive. Just look it up. Rabbit ears, 5-foot softbox, yikes. Okay. Does CRI matter? Kind of. I would say CQS and TLCI are better metrics, but CRI is a good way to kind of judge a light at face value. Do you have any audio preset for your 416? No, but I'm starting to tweak my EQ. A couple of people have been like, dude, your room tone is like crazy. Fix that. So I'm starting to do some EQ, but nothing crazy. How we doing on time, folks? I feel like I'm behind. Panasonic S1 versus A7 IV. That's a great question. A7 IV, I think all around is going to be a nicer option. That said, I really like Vlog, but with my new LUTs, I'm really happy with what I'm getting out of Sony's 10-bit stuff. So I'm going to go with A7 IV without, having used it yet. So take that with a grain of salt. All right, folks, I'm scrolling down again. We got to catch up here. Woo! Bob Keel, $4.99 donation. Thoughts on upgrading lateral movement from the Sony A6100 to the ZV-E10? Yeah, you would definitely get some little things here and there. But I don't know if financially it'll necessarily make a big difference. You know, like you'll spend a little more, you won't get as much for your camera. I don't know. That's a good question. ZVE10, I think, is that the new one that has, or is that one of the older ones with the built-in lens? I'm already struggling. Sony's killing me on that like ZVE situation. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would definitely compare, you know, the reviews and see what you think. But yeah, that would be a nice lateral little upgrade there. Get some newer features. All right. DJ Jordan Lee, would 2 aperture P60Cs be enough for lighting an entire home studio? I currently have 2 SL60s and Pavo tubes. Depending on the size of your room, yes, those are crazy bright. Actually, that's probably not worth it. I have one in a box right below me because I bought another one or 2. But I would totally set it up and show you how bright it gets in here. But you can check out my video and get an idea of a typical, I don't know, 14 by 14-ish size room, feet, what those lights can do. But yeah, 2 of those, that's going to be a lot of light if you're looking for like crazy amounts of color. So yeah. Question, wait, I know you have a Rode Wireless Go 1, picked up the Wireless Go 2. Do you have a video on the best settings? I don't go into the settings in detail, but I do talk about them in my Rode Wireless Go 2 review. I am working on a video where I go off into the weeds on how to find all the little secret stuff in that set, all the different settings, different setups, different combinations of gear. So that'll probably be next year. But yeah, and I'm thinking about doing a guide on those because they can be kind of gnarly when it comes to getting set up, figuring out how to use them to their, you know, most best use, if you will. DJI has new mics to compete with Rode Wireless Go 2. DJI, you mean DD? Maybe? So you're using the Canon RP, but at launch you had video. Right, so what changed for me was frame rate. They were just blocking 24 frames per second, which I thought was ridiculous. But they stopped doing that. So there you go. 24 frames per second right now. That's what you're watching. Is there an articulating arm that is around 2 feet in length, has a rosette to secure the position, looking for one? Yeah, so that's a tough one. 2 feet. Actually, there is one. Shoot me an email and I'll hunt it down. I'm using it right now. I can't move it and show you, but it's about 2 feet, I think. Yeah, it's got 2 knuckles, 2 rosette knuckles. So yeah, shoot me an email, dslrvideoshooter.com/contact, and I'll send you a link to that. Let's see. Are you saving the live? Yes, Samantha. This will go unlisted, but it'll still exist. If you have the link, you'll be able to find it. Or go to the channel, go down to playlists, and you'll be able to hunt her down there. All right. I love the Sony A9. Think the 4K footage is great. Only problem is no S-Log picture profile. Any hacks for grading footage? Yeah, you could mess with settings. It's definitely going to be watching your highlights. That's where you're going to get in big trouble. Shadows are going to do what they're going to do, but if you have stuff that's clipped, you're done. So, yeah, definitely. Let's see, A9. No picture profiles at all. It's just, it is what it is. Yeah, I'd probably leave it neutral or turning off the, what's that setting where it's like little looks and things. Usually that's always a bad idea, I would say. Let's see. Thoughts on the DJI mic. Did I miss something about a DJI microphone? Are we talking deity here? I don't know anything about a DJI microphone. Huh, there it is. When did that come out? Interesting. I'll have to investigate. But yeah, I don't have any thoughts on that. I know there's a zillion knockoffs of the Rode Wireless Go's, but I had not seen that one. How are you going with the 6K Pro? Would love to see a video on your thoughts using the camera quality and things after adding. Yeah, I still kind of feel the same about the camera. You know, I've got that thing that I bolt onto the side, which helps. But, you know, pretty much exactly the way I talked about that camera in my review is still how I feel. Fantastic camera, just really annoying to use. What I think about the MKE 600. So I did a mega comparison of shotgun microphones on my channel. You can check that out. And I included that microphone. And it's great. It's really, really good. I ended up going with the 416, but that's not knocking on the 600. So you can check that out and listen to the differences and, you know, make up your mind as to what you think you'd prefer. Audio interface or external recorder for voiceovers. Good question, Diego. I mean, interface with a good way to record would be way easier. I do that all the time. Just pull up QuickTime if I'm lazy and just record a quick thing. Or Final Cut has a voiceover situation going on. A good cheap one, if you want to save some money and it works great, is the Behringer. I don't love Behringer, but this particular device is good. Oh man, what's it called? It's around 30 to 50 bucks. It's a little box, one input, done. Otherwise, Focusrite, I've had good and bad experiences with them. But yeah. Oh, this is fun too. This thing I happen to have right here, the Evo. This is a really nice interface. 2 XLR inputs, pretty flexible. So yeah. Man, folks, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here because I know we've got some super chats. We got probably another 5 minutes, and I'll do a lightning round here. $10 donation. Forgive the complicated question. Shooting 4K on the A7 III to a Roland mixer, it outputs 1080p to a Ninja. Holy cow, we got a chain going on. 422 LT, but in Final Cut, random clips stutter randomly. Some stutter on playback, but not in the browser. So that might be a playback issue. If you're talking about the video file is fine, but in Final Cut it's struggling. That might be your machine. Let me know. Random clips stutter randomly. Some stutter on playback, but not in the browser. One thing you can do is just export. So drop everything in the into Final Cut's timeline. Export the file, you know, something that your computer can handle on playback, and if it's smooth, then it's your machine and Final Cut can't keep up, which that happens to me even on my Intel 16-inch MacBook Pro. Just can't handle most of the stuff I throw at it. So yeah, that's what I would say. Export it, see if it still stutters. If it still stutters, something else is going on. Most likely it is Final Cut being a turd. $20 donation from Afate. Caleb dropping jewels for the masses fund. Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's very kind of you. Okay. Whew. We're going to do a lightning round, all right? We got 4 minutes. 4 minutes. I'm going to see how many of these I can bang out. Colin, do you think Adobe certificate exams are worth it? I don't know anything about that. But I would say if it gets you good work, sure. Otherwise, usually I'm not into that stuff. Be an awesome editor, and that's going to usually get you good jobs. Audient, hands down, is coming out with the best all-around bang for your buck interfaces. Okay, there you go. Ty the Prodigy, we're going to have to subscribe. Everyone should check out Ty's channel since he's dropping all this gold on us. Baron, any experience with the Sony XLR adapter that attaches to the hot shoe? Love my Panasonic one. This one's twice as expensive. I've heard a lot of good things. I owned one years back. Then they were out of stock forever. I think they're still out of stock. But yeah, I think they're good. You know, you're going to be fine. Sony does great with audio. Dear Caleb, is it possible to use the Rode Link Kit with 2 lav mics? For example, Y splitter? Yes. Yes, you can. You can get a cable that has splits the left and right going in that should transmit fine, maybe. I'm trying to think. Is that stereo transmission? If it is, then on the receiving end, you'll be able to plug that into your camera, have left and right audio that you can, you know, play with. If I am correct, I think it'll work. Otherwise, you know, the worst it's going to cost you $5 to get a cable and try it out. So check out the Hosa. I can't remember the name of the cable, but I've done videos on it. It's $5. It's great. I bought the small video head you had in your video must-haves. It's awesome on my kayak. Can you please use the Manfrotto 502 plate? Can you use the Manfrotto 502 plate? not sure exactly understanding your question, but you could get a 502 receiver to put on top of that if you're talking about. Yeah. Just look for a 502 quick release clamp is the word you're probably going to look for. Can't decide between the systems. Wireless Go and AVX have auto gain. Sennheiser G4 seems to be getting out of date. DJI might fix these issues, but who knows? Can't decide. Yeah, maybe it's time for an audio wireless showdown. Maybe I'll do that once I finish this ridiculous pile of monitors that are coming out in the next couple of weeks. Good questions. Sold my M50, selling my 5D Mark II right now. Thinking of buying a 6D Mark II to replace both of them for 800 euros. Doing stills, sports photo, and video. Wanting to try vlogging. Right decision? Yeah, I mean, if 1080, those cameras aren't necessarily the best for video, but if you're just looking to film some casual videos with a flip out screen and you're, want full frame, that's going to give you a lot of great features, and I think it'll take good care of you. And for $800, that's another thing. That's not bad, right? Full frame camera, flip out screen, $800, good autofocus. How is Premiere Pro? I do not know on the M1s. I don't have one. I have one of the old Intel. You might be able to hear it if I turned off my noise reduction here. Yo, what's up? What do you think of the new Sigma 18-55 zoom? Haven't tried it. Haven't looked into it, so I can't tell you, unfortunately. How do you keep your 6K stable? Pocket Cinema Camera 6K setup stable. You can check out the rigging videos I've done for pocket cameras. Are you talking about handheld? Definitely rig it up. There's only one way to do that, and rig it up or put it on a gimbal. Did you use the RS2? I have not. I'm not a big gimbal guy. And Bart's in here. What's going on, Bart? All right, boys and girls. We're going to have to wrap it up here. So I'm going to drop a link where I'm going to be in the next 15 minutes. We're going live in 15 minutes from here. So I'm going to, oh boy, did I lose the link? Here we go. There it is. All right. So in 15 minutes from this moment, I'm going to be over here. I just put a link in the chat down below. Going to be talking about cameras, production, and hanging out with the guys, having something to sip on. Maybe we'll come up with a new gear challenge, which ought to be a lot of fun. Talk about all the new stuff that's coming out, which is ridiculous. And apparently I've got some catching up to do with this new DJI wireless situation. So thank you guys so much for hanging out. For those of you who donated, you're the best people ever. And very sweet. All of you regulars and everyone who's been showing up each week. It's awesome to hang out with you guys. We're going to do this again next Wednesday. Will we? Thanksgiving's coming up. Maybe not. I'll have to look at the calendar. Clearly, I'm unprepared. But I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I love the questions. Let's keep doing this. Wednesdays, maybe a little dodgy here toward the end of the year with the holidays. But regardless, if I don't see you on the stream, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. A wonderful rest of 2021, and we will see you in the next stream or video.